Was good, was good. We went on a little hiatus, but now we're back. I do have a question for you that
What's
I
up?
wanted to ask. So this year has been a lot of graduations, high school graduations. You know, these teenagers are now turning 18. It's time to look out for the future. What's next? If it's college, if it's something, whatever you're gonna do. But I've been getting or seeing a lot where the parents are like, it's time to go. Let the bird fly out. And I'm all for it. I feel like as a parent, let the bird fly out. Let the 18-year-old kid go, do what they need to do and everything else if they have something lined up for them. Now, your kids are not there yet. I know your oldest is, middle teenager or whatnot. Do you feel as a parent that's, in your opinion, do you think that's the mindset that the parent should have at 18? You got to figure it out? Or is it 18, go to school, but you could still stay at the house, and then after you graduate college, you head out?
So mine's my perspective might be a little bit different because I have two girls. Man, my thing is like I'm prepared to take care of my girls for as long as they need me to. You know, they get married, it's a whole different story. But until then, I'm their father, man. I'm the one who's taking care of them.
Right.
So I'm prepared to take care of my girls for as long as they need me to. Like, you know, if they want to be 18, that's going to hurt my feelings. If they want to leave at 24, it's going to hurt. No matter, it's one of those ones like no matter what, it's going to hurt. So I don't know, man. I'm on a different opinion on this one. I think me personally, since I have girls, mine is that. Now, what happened to me was 2 days after I graduated high school, I left for the Air Force. So, you know, there that could be that too as well. So I think those are certain circumstances. I think a lot of parents right now are just really stressed. I think it's hard. It's hard being a parent, man. You watch some of these TikToks they're looking at, and you're just like, what do you? Like, it's hard to I have a hard time connecting with my kids. I'm like, she's laughing, and I'm like, I don't understand why this is funny. Like, not even to mention some of the messaging they got. I'm not even trying to say that stuff either.
Right.
I think it's just really hard being a parent, man. And you know, when you start looking at the economy, you start looking at how much inflation's been. You got a lot of things where I think a lot of people are just stressed, and it's sad to say it though. But at some point, if it could be a kid could become a bear, you know, they could become a burden in a sense if they're not paying no bills, they're not doing those things, and you're kind of just looking at it as like, man, you get out the house, that's one less mouth out of the feed. If so, it sucks, but I can see how maybe somebody would think that. But I personally, actually, I hired my youngest daughter. She has a job now. I hired her for my company.
Nice.
She has a job.
She's your assistant.
She's my research analyst. I gave her this weird like thing, and she's like, whatever, as long as I'm making money. So I was like,
yeah.
So
As long as I don't have to do chores, just pay me an allowance. I'm good.
so what she has to do is like at 8 o'clock. So I'm here in Central Time. So before the stock market opens, I'm watching CNBC, right? So I watch it like earlier, but I go from 8 o'clock to 8:45 to my first meeting. You have to watch CNBC with me. And then after that, throughout the day, you're gonna have to research companies for me on my behalf.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like that. I go and from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock is a closing bell. You're gonna have to sit down and for an hour watch that with me. And so I think I'm paying her $50 every 2 weeks. So she's gonna make 300. She could make potentially $300.
Right.
Which is not. She's excited. I was like, how do you like this stuff? She's like, well, it's okay, but I know I'm making money, so I'm fine. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, cool. You don't even know we're talking about stocks, Mark. You know like what I'm about to do, like, you know, the plan. But I think that's also too when it comes to like when you're talking to your kids, man. It's like some of these kids, like you've seen it and I've seen it. When we go to the military, they don't know how to do their own laundry. They don't know how to cook for themselves. Some people are very unprepared for this world. And I think as a parent, man, if you're sending your kid off and they don't know how to take care of themselves, like, man, you just set them up for a very big like failure.
Yeah. So I recently went, I think it was last week or so. There's this kid that lives here that sort of went to high school, my nephew, the one that's in the Navy. And his parents have been knowing my brother since the kids were small. So she invited us to the house to, for his graduation party and everything else. And as I was standing there talking to, his friends and everything else, and some of them are ones that are just graduated, and there were some that were sort of already graduated, now just figuring out what to do next. And that was it. They were just trying to figure out what to do next because it was like, what do we do from here? So it's like, with me, when I engage with them, the first thing I'm saying is, What's going on with school? What are you doing? Oh, I took this semester off of this, so I'm going to be starting up in the fall, whatever the case may be. The next question is, okay, are you working? What are you doing for work? And a lot of times, some will answer one and not the other. Some will answer, oh, I'm working, but not the school. And some will answer none. Like they're not even working or going to school. Good. And it's crazy because I'm like you. When I graduated high school, my mom looked me straight in the eye and said, I don't have no money for college. It's not going to happen. And I was like, okay. So I guess the next thing I had going for me was the military because there really was no work. But these kids who've had people like their uncles and everything else telling them ahead of time, yo, you're graduating in 2 years. You're graduating in 1 year. Like you need to start focusing and looking at what you want to do with yourself after you get out. So my other nephew just graduated. I gave him mad props. It was a fun-filled weekend. We did an Airbnb and everything else. So graduation was one day. The next day was his birthday. He turned 18. And then the weekend, the family did an Airbnb. And they got it set up where he's going to go to school, but then he gets to stay home. So he's going to do school, come home, school, come home. He drives. He has his own car and everything else. And I'm like, are you guys ready for it? Because, they're expecting 18 out the door, let's go, go. And I told them, I said, why do you want to come back home? Because that's not the college life, and even though I didn't get to experience that, I was I did school later on, but I'm like, dude, at 18, why you're not on campus? Why you're not making friends, going to the little parties, whatever, join a fraternity, do this, experience college for what it is. Don't just do it one time and then you're back in your old room. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, a lot of these kids, they don't have that outlook that goes so far ahead. They're just hoping that tomorrow is going to be a better day for them. And we're telling him as well, hey, try to find work, especially if you're going to start school and you're going to be somewhat coming home, depending on how many classes you're taking, get a job. And nowadays, I'll be honest with you, we have Publix here. I don't know if you guys have Publix in Texas. Publix is like another Walmart. They give you stocks. They give you all sorts of other entitlements, medical coverage, insurance, whatever the case may be. They give you all sorts of entitlement, but people look at it as it's bad because I'm a bagger or, I'm working in the back, stocking up cans, whatever the case may be, and not realizing that the benefits that come with it. And also, if you do well, positions might come up. You might be a little, store manager or whatnot, or you might be a supervisor of your own team in the warehouse or something like that, which means more money. So when I was sitting there, I was like, and, I always joke around my brother. I was like, man, we're fucked. This future's fucked. Even it's not only fun, but it also got soft. We talk about right now, honestly, as a bad guy, this would be prime opportunity to take or invade the United States. To me, my opinion, that's the way I see it. Because these guys are just they still being cuddled. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them, I told them straight, I said, military, dude, go to military. Doesn't even matter what branch. I know a lot of people will tell you join the Air Force, Navy first, leave the Marines for last. But to this point is dude, just join anything. Just do something. You know what I'm saying? Go into something that you're gonna benefit from. You're gonna get something from it. Anything else? And again, you don't need to do 20 years. You could do 4, get your little certification, maybe get a school degree, get out, and find something else. I don't know how many people I knew that worked in bioenvironmental in the Air Force, got their little certifications through the Air Force, even got the little community college degree that was towards bioenvironmental, separated after 4 years and already were making 6-figure jobs, just doing bioenvironmental stuff. And it's this generation now, I don't know what it is they're sort of stuck. And you're right. It's hard for the parents because they want more for their children, but it's hard to sort of engage with them to do more when themselves don't look like they want to do more. They're just If it happens, it happens, you know? But yet they're like, "Ma, Dad, can I have money for the new jeans? Mom, Dad, can I have money for the new kicks? Mom, Dad, can I have money for a car? Mom, Dad, can I have money for gas?" You know, just the little things, and it's still 18, 19, 20 years on. It's just like, dude, what is going on?
Right.
Like, I had a friend when I was back in Brooklyn. I swear to God, man, he must have been 55, 60 when I used to go visit. Still lived on the same first floor apartment that I grew up in, the building I grew up in, with his mom. Still living with his mom. He had no kids, no wife, but he was still living in the same apartment. I believe he might have been working or whatnot, but he was still there. And it's crazy because it's like, I never thought to see that, you know, as an older man in that time frame, to be still living with mom. And now it's like this generation now is leading more towards that, because it's like, I don't know what it is. I you know, talking to them, they seem like they have ambition to want to do more, but it's like nothing is nudging them or pushing them to do more.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know, man. I have like two different things of it, right? So we were at Popeyes one day, and so we went to go order, and we go to the register, and the kid's on his phone on Instagram taking our order. And I was like, bro, can you just for real quick just stop for 30 seconds? And he messed up the order too, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't paying attention. And so you're like, that's one hand and one example, but at the same time frame, it's like, but I get it, man. If this is all you got going for you, I don't know the kid's name, I don't know his life, I don't know his life. But let's just say this is all you have going for you. I can understand why you're using social media to escape. I get it. I get why you're just constantly just searching for something that doesn't involve right now where your life sucks, the floor is sticky, whatever, right? And so I think those are some things where, like, I think people are just trying to escape. And then on the other hand, man, there's still people that are killing it. There's still, I mean, you still read about this kid who graduated this one. You see about this one, the 21-year-old has a certain amount of big business. I think there's every one of them. I think honestly, I'm almost kind of wondering if like this is nothing new. It's just because we have more access to more people, we get to know more of their life, right?
Right.
I'm wondering because it's like almost like every generation would always be different, right? And it makes it a little bit different than everyone else. And so I'm wondering really if this is something really big, or because we have more access to stuff, more access to the internet, more stuff, more people can say how they're feeling. You can be like, oh, wow, I thought it was just odd for one dude to be living with his mom. But you find out that's a whole little clique or sub, whatever.
Right.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But I guess I'm more err on the side of like positivity. Like, hey, man, I don't think we're doom and gloom. There's people who are still signing up for the military. Now, is it lower than ever before? 100%. I was talking to a recruiter and they're having problems. And they say the biggest reason is the medical thing. The reason for that is even when we went to MEPS, like if you didn't say nothing happened, right? Mm-hmm. Like nothing. Like now, if you go to the doctor, it's in your records and the military will get it. You can't join the military no more.
Right.
So like automatically kids can't even serve anymore because of medical, how they have it tied. Which if you look at it from the military standpoint, like if you come in with a jacked up shoulder and you leave the military, I got to pay for that shoulder for the rest of your life. If it happened during service, it might have got worse, whatever. It's not a liability. But now is like, if you play football and you break your arm, there could be an issue. I don't know if there is or isn't. So that's an issue, right? So I think everything, we have to look at those things. But man, it's crazy, this world of like, we still have a military that is still volunteer. Right. At the end of the day, that's always what kind of makes me like a little bit like, hey, now they're different now. And I had a phone call with a friend's daughter. She just joined the Air Force. Man, she is not even out of tech school and was like, hey, look, man, like, how do I do stuff with my money? I want to look at either real estate or the stock market. And she had a friend with her that was saying the same thing too. I was like, those are prime examples, 18, 19-year-old kids that are sitting there saying, okay, I look down the road. How do I make more money? I'm in the military. I'm an E3. I'm not going to make that much money. How can I do this? And you're like, there's still, that's what I'm saying. There's still tons of them. I just don't think we just see more of the bad things, right? It's just more of the people who are just on the couch doing nothing. And you're just like, But I think every generation has killers in it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard because I feel like sometimes the parents, some of them don't really know that much. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because a lot of the kids that I was talking to, their parents were coming in from other countries. You know what I'm saying? They're sort of foreigners to the United States, even though they're citizens, but they're just foreign to the concept of stocks, to the concepts of social media, to the concept of being a YouTuber. You know, you can make money off of it. They don't grasp that. You know what I'm saying? So they're probably looking at through the vision of, I know when I was growing up was go to school, after school, get a job. You know what I'm saying? That was my upbringing, my mindset. My parents were like, yo, this is how you're going to do ABC. But now, like you said, since we have access to so much stuff, a lot of these parents are not aware of it, you know? So it's like, it's kind of hard to sort of push somebody to do something that they want to do when you don't have no comprehension of it. Because I'm sure if these kids told me, hey, you know, I want to invest. And I bet you they told to the parents like, Ma, I want to get into stocks, or Dad, I want to invest into this. They're going to be like, what is that? You know what I'm saying? Because they just know I work construction. I work in a store. I work in this. I work in that. It was always hands on versus what do you do with the money? You know? So let me ask you this, because I know you did, let's bring up the whole Vincent Vargas. I thought that was pretty cool on the trip that you did. So for the listeners and viewers and those watch the episodes or whatnot, Vincent Vargas, or Rocco, is a actor / veteran on the show Mayans. I know you don't watch TV, but Mayans is a great fucking show. It's a spinoff of Sons of Anarchy, and he plays Gilly on there and everything. As a matter of fact, I think the Breeze Shooters podcast did an interview with him and whatnot. But I know you had some sort of affiliation with him regarding the border. So go into detail on that, because I know we talked about it, but I think it's pretty cool for other people to hear on what's happening down there and everything else.
Yeah, so we went to the border. We went to the border, man. It was pretty interesting. We did like a crowdfunding thing. Got some money, got some things, and took off. So took off really, like, seriously. It was like, hey, we're leaving tomorrow. Like, bet, let's go. The wife was just like, really? Like, yeah, let's go. We gotta go buy some things, and we went and bought some stuff, got some plane tickets, and we took off, and we landed the next morning, and we just hit the ground running. And so what we did is, I don't even know what day or month it was, honestly. I mean, I think it was May, right? So it was May. I think it was this month, actually. Title 42. So it's a big thing about the immigration, right? And so the beginning of everything is that this world right now, one of the key topics, one of the hot buttons is immigration. And for us here in Texas, even Florida, like, immigration is a thing. All right. Some people are kind of removed from immigration in a sense because they're so away from a border, either north or south border. And so sometimes I think their immigration is just what they're seeing on media. And what we're seeing on the media was kind of like, it looked like, you know, people were saying the word invasion, like we were saying some very aggressive wording that made it seem like, hey, all these immigrants are moving over. And I say the word immigrant, or I say the word migrant a lot, because they were migrating. Like, you know, there's that. Right. There was even people who had issues about the terminology, because, you know, he would sit there and say a migrant, and they'd be like, you mean illegal? And he's like, well, technically, if you look at, like, you know what I mean? It's like it's illegal if you came in here illegally, but if you're just coming down here and you haven't done anything wrong, you're migrating. You're migration,
right?
Which the comments is crazy, the people in this world. But so what, you know, what happened was it was going on there. There was a thing coming up, and the reason why there was so much chaos, they were saying at the border, was because Title 42 was ending, and Title 42 was something that got enacted during COVID that changed the process of how it goes for immigration. And so immigration is a very different thing, man. My wife had to immigrate from Japan to America, and it's not like an easy immigration problem, like where you just put like a Google form in and you're in. Like, we had to pay fees, we had to do interviews, we had to go send her passports in. When she even got her visa, she had to go to the airport. She has to go do an interview afterwards. Like, there's a whole 9 yards. We had to provide photos. Right. They wanted to see photos of us when we dated. I mean, it wasn't just like, oh, okay, she wants to come to America, great. And this is Japan, an ally, right? So there's that. From an immigration standpoint, from like doing that, we had to provide that. We had to go do an interview. I had to show them my daughter's birth certificate, kind of show that we were actually married. We've been dating before this stuff. And that's just from immigrating from Japan. So we have these people that are coming from South America, right? So there's some people from different ones. There's some different people from different areas. But a lot of them come from South America, and they're immigrating, or they're migrating towards America. And there was a presumption that people were going to overrun or overtake the border and just come on through. And so we saw a lot of the media, and some people were making it crazy. And so he wanted to just show the truth. So I was like, bet, let's go, man. So we went down there and we saw what we saw. And what's crazy is what we saw wasn't this like movie scene. It wasn't like a Michael Bay, like things are popping off. There's fireworks. We're sitting there like, here I am reporting in the middle. Like what we saw, and we have footage of it, is there's this area, right? So it's between the borders. There was concertina wire. National Guard came in there and they had concertina wire. There's about 1,000 of them. And this is only from gate 42 of El Paso. So that's just from one area. And you saw over 1,000 people that were sitting in lines and waiting to be processed. That was it. It was so boring that the news media, before it happened, were like, hey, there's no story here. Let's take off. And they would just leave because it was peaceful. It wasn't what they wanted. It wasn't since late. And the reason why I say this is this one area is because people are showing videos from different ones. And it's like, hey, what about this? We were not there. We went to pick this one area. Again, we're not journalists. We're just two people trying to figure out we're a group of individuals trying to figure out what's going on. So that was interesting. It's pretty cool.